Okay, so here's our completed EDD. Like I said earlier, figuring out our independent and dependent variable is the toughest part. Once we have those crucial pieces of information, we can kind of just plug it into the rest of the EDD. Because I love color coding things, I have color coded the independent variable in blue since we are talking about water. And I've color-coded the dependent variable in green because we are talking about plants. The investigation question for this experiment was, how does the amount of water a plant receives affect its growth? So we are going to be measuring plant growth, right? The plant growth is the effect. It's what depends on the amount of water. So now that we have the dependent variable as plant growth, we know that independent variable is amount of water. So we, the experimenter, are going to be changing the amount of water the plants get in each of our trials. So if we look at title, the title will be formatted in this way: the effect of whatever the independent variable is on whatever the dependent variable is. So our title here is the effect of water amount on plant growth. Our hypothesis will be formatted as an if-then statement. Now remember, our hypothesis is just an educated guess. If you had a different hypothesis, but you had the water amount after if and the plant growth amount after then, you are okay, right? So if you said if the water amount increases, then plant growth will decrease, you're fine. Okay, so the levels of the independent variable are 0 milliliters, 50, 100, and 500 milliliters. Those are the different amounts of water we are testing in each of the trials. 0 milliliters is our control, right? Because our independent variable is amount of water, so we want to see how the amount of water affects plant growth. But how do we even know that water affects plant growth anyway? We don't. That's why we need a control. Our control is something we can compare the rest of our results to. Okay? And in our prompt, we saw that we will have 3 plants that receive 50 milliliters of water, 3 plants getting 100, 3 plants getting 500, and 3 plants getting 0 milliliters of water. So some constants for this experiment could be type of plant. We want to make sure each of these plants is of the same species. We want to make sure that each of these plants is getting the same amount of sunlight. It would not be fair if these plants here got no sunlight and these plants here got lots of sunlight. We wouldn't be able to compare the results of the experiment if that was the case. We want to make sure each of these plants is in the same soil. They are experiencing the same outdoor temperatures. They're in the same sort of planters or pots, and they receive the same amount of shade, or they don't receive any shade at all.